Welcome back to another camera channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about a vertical video setup that you can take around to conventions or events, and something that I just quite like. This is a small vertical video setup that I've been using mainly if I'm doing any events or going to things like NAB or IBC or Interb in Japan or Kobe in Korea. These are all trade shows, and I want to film some vertical content. This is the setup that I am taking. And I have had comments from people that have either seen me at the shows or seen me walking around with this, and they have stopped me and been like, oh, what kind of camera is that? And I'm always just like, it's an FX3. It's basically just an FX3 turned on its side. So as you can kind of see on the desk here, there are quite a few parts to this build, but it's not super complicated, and it's not really that different from how I am running the camera horizontally. So they're all the same parts. Basically, I'm just arranging them in a different way. Like I said, my main camera for this is an FX3, and it's paired with the G Master 24-70 Mark II. Some people may prefer to run a 1635 because it does give you that wider field of view. But I think this is a good all-rounder. And usually when I do go to events, I'm keeping that 16-35 in my bag and also the 70-200 as well, because you never know when there's going to be like a speaker on a stage, and the 70 just isn't that much throw. You need a longer lens sometimes. Having those lens choices is essential, I think, to gain the most out of event coverage. I really wish there was a 24-105 like f2.8 because I used to run around with, when I had a Canon 5D Mark III, I used to have the 24-105 f4, and I love that lens. That was like a perfect length for travel. Had all the range that you needed. So I know there's a 24-105 f4, but if there was a 2.8, I would totally go for that over this one. So on the camera, we have a small rig cage. I'll leave the number, the actual code above here. And the cage basically just, helps protect the camera from any knocks and allows you to attach all the other accessories that you're going to need to it. I do have the side handle here, which is useful if you're doing horizontal shooting. You may want to take this off if you're just strictly doing vertical, because then you can attach like a tripod plate to this side, like this. Usually for events though, I'm kind of just walking around handheld, so I don't need a tripod plate on there. And as you see on this build anyway, I still have the tripod plate attached onto this part here, which is a V-mount plate, which attaches onto the bottom of the small rig cage via an Arca Swiss design. So on the bottom of the cage here is an Arca Swiss, and what you can just slide it in onto this, lock it at the front, and then you have a V-mount plate attached to your cage. And this is essential for me because I'm always powering stuff off V-mounts, and I love V-mount. So the V-mount of choice for me is the small rig V-mount, is the VB99 Pro, I believe, and this is a little scratched, as you can see, but I have a couple of these and they're amazing. Get your V-mount on there and you're ready to power stuff. So small rig handle here. With the small rig cages, you usually get a NATO rail to attach handles to, like this one here, but there's also a NATO rail attached on this side. So what we can do is slide on the handle like that, and then we have the basis of where we're going to be holding our camera all the time, like this. Now for monitor, this is something I got last year at IBC, and this is the Portkeys LH7P, and this is running the MovNorm OS, so it has a ton of features for creators and stuff like that, and I really love this monitor. I'm very used to using Portkeys monitors, and I trust the color that comes out of them, trust the image that comes out of them, so I know when I'm shooting, I'm going to get a good result, and I've been using Portkeys for a very, very long time. If any of you know what the HH7 is, I've basically been using Portkeys since that one, which is a discontinued screen. So it's very easy to attach the monitor on like this, and you can see the orientation I'm going with. It matches the camera because I want to look at a 9:16 image while I'm shooting. So this is a 7-inch monitor, and it just gives a fantastic image. And the false color is really good for exposure, plus a myriad of other tools that you can get in there. So definitely recommend Portkeys monitors if you're looking at one. This is a Portkeys HDMI cable. And I got this at IBC as well last year for free. They were giving them out. So very cool little HDMIs. So for power, I'm going to be using the Portkeys BD1, which I have several of these and they're fantastic. They are a double MPF adapter. So basically you plug this into your V-mount and it will give you MPF style battery plates on both sides, and one side is rotatable. So if you were going to attach, let's say, a wireless video transmitter to this, and you needed to change the orientation, you can do that by just unscrewing this yellow screw, turning it round, and screwing it back in again like this. And there you go. You can mount your video transmitter this way rather than upwards. This is a fantastic accessory if you don't already have one of these. And I believe they're only like $29 a piece, so super cheap. Really fantastic. Now, I've just wound the HDMI cable around the handle, and it usually stays out the way most of the time. So it's a perfectly fine place for me. And this is essentially all the hardware that you're going to need to build this rig. For memory cards, I'm using the Nova Chips 330 gigabytes CF Express Type A cards. You can see the review that I did of them up here. Read and write speed and stuff, amazing. Transferring data at the end of the day, beautiful. So quick. Now moving on to audio, because if you're doing some event work, maybe you are doing interviews, of course, very important. So what I will be taking to IBC and other events is the Holyland Lark Max 2. These events, they are flooded with RF interference. Here's a really bad example.
That with an M90 because it is 40 kilos. So we're able to do this super easily inside a light fixture that gives you a crazy amount of output.
I'm not standing very far away from Brandon here, but as soon as he turns away from me, there's no signal. So it really gets destroyed. So you really need to use recordings, internal recordings on a microphone like this. So yeah, this concludes this video of this little setup. This is what I like using. It is very efficient, very lightweight, and works like a dream. If you are interested in any of the parts for this rig, they will be in the description below, and there'll probably be Amazon links and stuff like that. So if you do purchase any of those, it will help support the channel. So thank you in advance if you do. Subscribe for more content just like this. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.